Time now for a look at the latest business news and worries on the markets about the situation in Ukraine. Our business editor, Stephen Carroll, is here with more.
Erin, things are a little bit calmer on the markets today after a very volatile Monday. Investors had been spooked by those comments from the Ukrainian president about an imminent invasion intended, as his spokesperson later clarified, for those comments to be sarcastic. But the markets certainly took it seriously for a couple of hours anyway. After sharp falls on the European markets yesterday, there's not much sign of a recovery at the start of trading today. The main European bourses starting the day fairly flat or dipping into the red. Travel and leisure shares are among those falling at the start of trading in Europe. We've got Germany's DAX down by around 0.1%, as you can see, after those couple of minutes of trading. London and Paris both just dipping or just pushing slightly above the flat line, so we've gotten some very small gains in London and in Paris as well. Falls across most Asian markets, though, in trading today. Tokyo down by 0.8% at the end of trading. Falls too on the Hang Seng in Hong Kong and on the Kospi in Seoul. Gains, though, on Chinese markets. The Shanghai Composite up by 0.5%, and that was after a move by the Chinese central bank to pump around 14 billion euros into the banking system there. That's helping shares in China. Oil prices, meanwhile, largely holding on to the spike that we've seen in recent days. The international benchmark Brent crude hovering just below $96 a barrel. That's close to the highest level that it's seen in 7 years. Just in December, Brent was trading around $70 a barrel, but a shortage of supply has pushed prices higher, and of course they've gone even higher in the past few days over concerns that a Russian invasion of Ukraine would disrupt supply of oil around the world. Moving to Japan next, where the economy grew by 1.7% in 2021. It's the first time the country has seen annual growth in 3 years. The world's third largest economy expanded by faster than had been expected between October and December. That was thanks to an increase in consumer spending. Economists saying that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has since taken the wind out of the sails of the Japanese economy, but that things should improve in the coming months. The Attorney General in Texas is suing Facebook's parent company Meta over claims that it gathered biometric data from users without their proper consent. The lawsuit is seeking billions of dollars in civil penalties. Attorney General Ken Paxton accuses the social media giant of collecting millions of biometric details for its facial recognition technology from photos and videos that were uploaded on the platform. The company says the claims are without merit. Facebook announced last year it was shutting down its facial recognition system and wiping data that it had harvested from around 1 billion users. Here in France, workers, representatives and companies across the country are holding talks on pay rises. These are mandated by French law, but this year it will come under increased scrutiny because of rising inflation. One survey says workers will, on average, end up with raises that are less than the pace of price rises. Emerald Maxwell reports.
These factory workers are striking over pay, calling for a 4% raise. The food processing company they work for is profitable, but unions say management has only offered employees a 3% increase.
Last year we got nothing, which we accepted because it was COVID and it was a difficult period. But this year we have a right to 4%.
Calls which look set to grow. French companies with over 50 workers are required to engage in annual salary negotiations. And according to a study by Deloitte, this year they'll be granting increases of 2.2% on average. Employees working in industry can expect a rise of around 2.5%, 2.2% in the transport sector and 2% in banking. But the rises won't keep up with inflation, currently running at 2.9%.
I got a raise last year, but it wasn't enough given the cost of living.
I'm expecting it to be at least equal to inflation.
Will you be disappointed if it's less?
Yes, definitely.
Companies are being cautious, says this expert, because some have yet to recover from the pandemic.
There is still a climate of uncertainty because costs are skyrocketing. There are shortages of some raw materials needed for production, and various markets are under pressure.
Pressure that's set to continue, with inflation in France expected to climb to around 3.5% by June.
Finally for me, as Asian airlines and plane builders are meeting at the Singapore Air Show, the biggest airline from the Philippines is planning to cram more passengers into its newest planes. Cebu Pacific Air telling Bloomberg it's looking to, quote, optimise the floor space in its new Airbus A321 jets by fitting in 244 seats. Already on the company's A330neos, it's put in a record 460 seats, which is 20 more than the plane's recommended maximum. Now, this is following a trend used by the likes of Ryanair and Cathay Pacific and other parts of the world of fitting in extra seats to make flights more profitable, sometimes, though, at the cost of passenger legroom. Erin.
Stephen, hard to imagine even less legroom than there already is on most airplanes, but hey, I guess.
Bad news for tall people.
Indeed. Thank you, Stephen Carroll with the Business Update.